Hi again, everybody, and welcome into another Perry's Inside Scoop, brought to us as always by Perry's Ice Cream, proudly made in New York. Matt Parker, the coach. Dino Babers getting set for the Cuse and Wake Forest on the road this Saturday. And Coach, we have to start with really tragic and unfortunate news around the ACC and our brethren in orange and blue in Charlottesville. And not only does everybody feel for them in general, hits close to home on your staff.
Yeah, it does. Obviously Coach Beck and Coach Nye was a part of that staff last year. Coach Nye was responsible for all three young men that passed away, recruiting them, and two of the three played his position. So it's been heavy hearts and prayers in our buildings ever since the weekend started coming into Monday.
Yeah, you think about Lavelle Davis in particular. Those players played here in the Dome just a couple weeks ago, and a couple months ago rather, and what a real deal, and it has to have an impact in your locker room. What sense did you get talking to the guys?
Well, all the players, when you're playing a guy and you think, you give him respects and you shake his hand and tell him how good of a player he is after the game, and you think, 4 months later or 5 weeks later, he's not here with us. It affects the young people, and it affects the old people too. But it's one of those things that we've got to find a way to deal with it and send out our sympathy and our prayers.
Absolutely. So thoughts and prayers of everybody in the Syracuse football community and around the ACC sent toward Charlottesville this week. They are not playing their game against Coastal Carolina, and you'll see signs of that solidarity up and down the conference and certainly on the Syracuse sideline this week as the Orange take on Wake. Dave Clawson had similar comments this week, the classy head coach of the Demon Deacons. And then it comes down to football. And it's two teams that come in that had a strong start, feel pretty good about themselves, headed to a bowl in both cases, but it hasn't been so hot the last couple of weeks. What do you see in those similarities between your struggles and theirs?
Similar situations where you got players that were playing early in the games where you were doing really well that aren't playing there now. New people playing and maybe making mistakes that a veteran wouldn't be making this time, which is slowing down the things that are going on. And then, really having close contests with some teams that are in the news and not being able to bring it home, but still taking the bumps and bruises of playing a contest that close and not being able to come home with a victory.
Let's talk about your engine, and you used the phrase triangle the other day, the concept of Garrett Strader. Every great team's got a big three, right? And you think about that at the skill positions, Garrett Strader, Sean Tucker, Aronde Gadsden. When things are going well, they were clicking. Certainly Strader and Tucker have confidence coming in against Wake Forest, put up big numbers in a game that was a close loss a year ago, going down to the final play as usual. What about them right now in terms of getting them back to where they click?
Well, we haven't seen our true triangle in a long time, and we've got to get back to that. We've got to, we've had a line, we've had a dot, but we haven't had a triangle in a long time, and it would be great to see that show up for the last 2 weeks.
What do you think your issues are when it comes to kind of putting points on the board? And we've always talked about playing from in front, but you got to get up on the board before you can do that.
I just think we're in a rut. We're in a rut, and we've got to have some positive things happen early. I think I heard Coach Clawson, that classy coach you mentioned earlier, talk about them being in a rut on his press conference and trying to have some good things happen early. So you've got two coaches that are used to winning with two teams that are used to winning. And it's going to be a battle that we both know is going to go down to the fourth quarter. We're both trying to get out of ruts, and we're both trying to get on the board early.
You think about their most productive players. Sam Hartman, the quarterback, has been dynamic. Ryan Smenda has been there 100 years. He makes every tackle. When you look at the Wake Forest personnel, what's the biggest observation you have?
Quarterback that's played so many years. Does he graduate? Is this his last year? 'Cause someone told me, I woke up and I was like a bad dream that he got an extra year from the NC2A. But Hartman does a fantastic job. Obviously, he had the heart trouble early, but he's back on the football field for them. He's doing a fantastic job. We've got to find a way to slow down their offense because they traditionally score a lot of points, and we've got to find a way to score points on their defense. It's going to be a tall task.
It will be an outdoor game the next two. As you said, you practice that in those types of conditions, so that alone shouldn't be a factor. Kind of the fresh air and all that, it seems to me to be exciting. Maybe it works for you in the right way. We always kind of wrap this with an idea of, in your mind, leading into the game of what a difference maker could be. And in particular, with these games of late against Wake Forest, they generally have been close in the fourth quarter, and this one figures to be again.
It's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. I mean, going down to just these games, we're going to be close. It's going to be in the fourth quarter. They're not going to die. We're not going to die. And whoever makes the last play, their team's going to celebrate.
Yeah, one of those scheduling quirks based on COVID. It's been a minute since you've been to Winston-Salem. Back to the 2018 season, they've been in the Dome 3 years in a row. So best of luck in picking up a roadie, okay?
Thank you, Matt.
Orange head coach Dino Babers. It is the Cuse and Wake Forest, 8 o'clock Saturday night. This has been the Inside Scoop, brought to you as always by Harry's, proudly made in New York.